So you go. I'll go click for you.
Yeah, click for me.
I'd like to call the
Cindy might say
Goal
something
5
first,
folks
and they
to
were
come
gonna
forward.
introduce you. They told me they were, so.
Superintendent, whoever's going to do Goal 5. Goal 5.
Okay, let's do goal 5. Thank you, Dr. Whitehurst-Payne. We're going to start with goal 5. Thank you to the team that's ready to present. This is family and community engagement. With my microphone on. Goal 5, family and community engagement with highly regarded neighborhood schools. And we're going to focus this presentation on the Logan Memorial Complex and the vision for the work and the specific plans that we have for family engagement. And we have a guest with us, Adriana. I'm glad to have you here. I'm going to have our Chief of Staff, Stacy Monreal, formally introduce you as a partner in this work. And I've heard fabulous things about what you're doing. And of course, we have Antonio and Mitzi, staff members. But Stacy, could you please introduce our guest?
Sure. I would like to introduce you to Adriana Chavarin Lopez. We've had the great fortune to have Adriana and her colleagues, Mark and Michael, with us this year working on the Achievement Gap Prevention Project. And we also are fortunate that Adriana is actually going to stay with us. We're going to be in partnership with the County Office of Ed and have her as our Harvard resident this year, and she'll be continuing the work on this project and also supporting some of the work we're doing at Perkins K-8 as well. So welcome. So happy you could be here today.
Okay, I'm going to get us started. For LCAP Goal 5, as you know, we're highlighting our Achievement Gap Prevention Project, which was launched this year at Logan Memorial Complex. What is most exciting about this family engagement effort is that it begins before a child is born, and it doesn't end until that child goes off to college. Our vision is to wrap our arms around families and support them at their point of need from prenatal to college. I only wish I had that support. Equally exciting is how we plan to engage with families in innovative ways. Our plan is to engage in a true partnership with our families. Traditionally, parent engagement has been done to families. In this project, we plan to do with families. Together, we will co-construct family education based on what our families tell us they need. Principal VR and Adriana Chavarin Lopez will share how we began our journey at the Logan TK8 complex and forecast the upcoming year of support for our families.
Thank you, Mitzi, Board, Superintendent. Hi. In order to identify an informed problem of practice regarding family engagement at Logan Memorial Complex, we utilized the problem-solving approach used by the Harvard Graduate School of Education and the Harvard Business School as part of the Pell Public Education Leadership Project, led by the civic team from Harvard. For today's presentation, we're going to walk you through the first 3 steps: identify the problem, analyze the problem, and diagnose the cause, and develop a theory of action. I see you have a printout, so you'll see some of the wonderful families of Logan who committed to this process right away. We began the process by involving the district leadership team, teachers, and parents at Logan Memorial to identify the root causes contributing to the achievement gap forming for children before they enter preschool at Logan Memorial. Their discussions led to the formulation of the following problem of practice. And Richard, I'm going to ask for your assistance in reading the problem of practice.
It's a shared reading presentation, interactive.
Exactly. All right, Logan parents face realities that require the executive function and emotional regulation that adults use to manage life, work, and parenting effectively, such as planning, focus, self-control, awareness, and flexibility to deal with the adverse experiences of poverty and racism. Consequently, parents may not focus their attention on developing relationships with their infant children that will enable the children to develop their own executive function necessary to experience success in pre-K to 12.
Thank you.
Good afternoon once again. My name is Adriana Chavarin Lopez, and it's been an honor to work with the Logan Memorial Complex on this project. And I would be remiss if I did not mention my colleagues, and Stacy, thank you for mentioning Mark Caban and Mike Vea, who are also doctoral students at Harvard and have been part of this team. So as Antonio just explained to you, we had a very robust problem of practice that we started with. And what we knew was going to happen next was that we wanted to come up with a very precise theory of action, and in order to come up with a very powerful solution. And so what we were trying to do was to avoid what the cartoon is referring to here, that in step 2, the theory of action, we were going to wait for a miracle to occur. And we knew nothing against miracles, but our miracle had to be very precise so that we could help our families out. So the first thing we did to start the theory of action process is that we took a deep dive. Thank you for clicking. We took a deep dive into what the latest research was out there in terms of children's outcomes, both academic and life outcomes. And what we found was pretty surprising, is that usually we tend to focus on the K-12 span. And what the research was telling us is actually, it's not just focusing on the academics, but you actually have to focus on the family engagement piece that starts at the prenatal stage. And so what we did is that the research was telling us if we focus on the parents' executive function and adult capabilities, and these are just the basic skills that people need to survive and to be successful in life, organization, focus. And so if we focus on the caregiver's executive function, then that would be a direct impact on the children's outcomes, both academic and also just life outcomes in general. So we worked alongside all of the stakeholders, and we wanted to get their input in terms of what goes into this theory of action. The majority of the input came from the parents themselves at Logan. So if we can click. There are 5 components to the theory of action, and we thought that we would continue with the shared reading, and if we can start with our board president and then go down the line, and each of you read each of the sections as they get clicked on screen.
Okay. If we provide a group of Logan Memorial School parents with tools to develop their executive function, such as planning, focus, self-control, awareness, and flexibility rooted in cultural responsiveness to effectively manage stress, household issues, work, and parenting.
And if we create a peer and pod coaching structure to engage families in adult development goal setting.
And if we provide these peer and pod coaching structures, adult development experiences that include collaborative experiences, support groups, and coaching.
And if we provide evidence-based training for lead coaches to lead the coaching pod in adult development experience, then we can
empower parents to diminish their reactive experiences and impulsive behaviors and increase their proactive and goal-oriented behaviors. This will lead to parents using their core capabilities productively to deal with the challenges and to support their children's executive function necessary to experience academic success in pre-K to 12th grade.
Thank you very much. The coaching model that is referred to here in the theory of action is actually called the Immunity to Change coaching model, and it was developed by this organization called Minds at Work. It's been used traditionally in leadership development. This is the first time that it's been used with parents in a public education setting. So the organization Minds at Work was very excited because this was work that they had been wanting to do. They just had not found the context in which to do it, and the amazing group of people that were willing to also join with them. So we have been partnering with them this year to develop the pilot at Logan Memorial Complex. The pilot is the following. It is a peer and pod coaching structure, and the parents are matched with a partner parent to form a peer coach partnership. So now we have 2 parents, and those 2 parents join another peer coaching partnership, so another 2 parents, and those 4 parents together then form a pod. Each pod is led by a lead coach, and the title of lead coach was very important, as you will see in a future slide. And then the lead coach is leading 2 pods of parent peer coaches. And so the pilot that we have this year was actually one of those pod structures. And we met with parents from Logan Memorial Complex who volunteered to be part of this pod coaching structure, and then were coached from January through, some of them I think are still being coached through June. When we took this pod coaching structure and the theory of action back to each of the stakeholders, the parents had a lot of feedback for us, which we then turned to the leadership team. And some of the parent feedback is the one that you see on the slide. The ones that we thought were most impactful are the ones that are highlighted, such as parents may not be willing to get out of their comfort zone. Completely understood. We don't want to be seen as cases to be managed. Instead of a case manager, I like the wording of lead coach. And so that is why it was very important to call the lead coach. We are scared our kids will be taken away if we share issues of domestic violence, immigration, or addiction. And there was a dad as part of this pilot group, and so he was wondering, can there be dad-to-dad partnerships in the coaching model? And so that is something that we are going to look to for the following, for the second year of the pilot. Probably the best way to sum up immunity to change is the airline analogy of the parent putting on the oxygen mask first. And in this case, the oxygen mask providing all of that executive function training for the parents so that they in turn can then develop the executive function in their own children. And that executive function is really, in the research, they liken it to the air traffic control. And another airline analogy, I just realized that right now. And so we want to make sure that these children have a very strong foundation in executive function so that they can have success in pre-K-12 and then beyond as well. And immunity to change allows for the parents to really just look at the assumptions that they have about themselves and the world and the community that they live in, which then in turn inform their behaviors, and then those behaviors may be impeding them from really achieving their true potential as parents and as just human beings as well. As part of the pilot this past year, we had Eleanor, who was one of our parents, and we asked each of the parents that were part of the pilot to record a video in which they were describing the type of impact this coaching structure had on their lives during the couple of months that they were in it. And Eleanor's quote was, "The immunity to change process has brought out things that I did not know about myself and my behaviors. It is great to have peer and pod support, and the pod support you as you develop. And I'm very excited for this work and have great faith in it. I am excited to see how it continues to benefit Logan parents." And so that was from Eleanor. And we are excited then to report that for this next year, for 1920, we have a couple of things that are in line for this second pilot year. The first one is that our project has been invited to apply for the Innovation and Action Workshop at the Harvard Center on the Developing Child. And this will provide us with an opportunity to work with Dr. Jack Shonkoff, who has been advising us throughout this time as well, but really to work closely with him and his staff to be able to further develop this pilot, to scale it, and then also to develop a robust assessment program for it as well. We're also excited that we're part of the Promise Neighborhood Grant, and so we have been working with South Bay Community Services to be able to fund the second year. And that includes increasing the number of parent participants. So we will be working with Principal Villad to be able to recruit those additional parents for the coaching pilot, and then also working with Minds at Work so that we can train the additional coaches that we will need. And I think that concludes our presentation at this time.
Thank you. I believe we have a couple of speakers.
Yes, we have Moira Alberton and Mary Ann Hawk.
Okay.
From our CAC. We need staff to help families navigate systems, and we need to also have assistance discerning supports that are available within school and community. Strategies for parents to become more involved in their students' classrooms and schools without causing conflicts and misunderstandings with teachers. What resources exist for teams? How can this be delivered to families? So I think this was talking along the lines of alternative dispute resolution, I think. The other area that I wanted to just bring forward again is the idea of translation for IEPs. And more in thinking about it, I just want to be really explicit. When a family can't view, in a language, the draft IEP, then they don't come to the table ready to participate. They come and just get bombarded with all the people talking. And so I would really like us to have a conversation about how can we bring some equity to that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello again, Mary Ann Hawk. I brought my gifted students with me. They want to say hello and don't forget about us. I just wanted to say thank you to Jim Solo. This is the community and engagement goal, and Jim has been a wonderful partner working with the Gate DAC, and I really appreciate everything he's doing to work with us. I also want to say thank you to the Family Engagement Department, Teresa Laskowski and Pam and Noemi and all those wonderful people. I've been chair for 3 years, and this is the first time that I really feel like I'm being engaged. And I think we're making great progress, and we're good partners. So thank you for that, and I really look forward to continuing to work with you. I just want to emphasize again that the Gate DAC is often marginalized, and we keep being told that we're not really a real district advisory committee, but I want to assure you that our bylaws say that we are a board workshop, a board committee, and that we should also be presenting to you at least twice a year the way the other district advisory committees do, and we've never been able to get on your schedule. So I think we need to do a little bit of work in that regard. So I hope that we can make sure that we have that opportunity to continue the dialogue, because there's important work to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent, will you look into that? Thank you.
I'd like
wow.
to just add something, if you don't mind. I thought that the really interesting thing about the problem of practice and then the vision for this work, when we started this work, we all were convinced that we needed to start thinking about how we're going to build the capacity of the teachers to be able to handle the situations that students come in with. And through this process that we went through, we realized that we actually needed to start with the parents. And given that this was a prenatal to college, that it was the opportunity to be proactive. And so I thought it was a real shift in our mindset to go from building capacity of teachers to thinking about how we could build the capacity of our parents. So I thought that was a really huge piece of this work, and actually is more precise and is going to be able to get the outcomes that we're looking for to happen. And the last thing I wanted to tell you also that I didn't tell you in the introduction is Adriana is a new parent to our district. Her children will be going to Franklin and also Lewis Middle School. So welcome as a parent as well.
Thank you. Populating our schools. And you're absolutely right. That's good to see how this has evolved, and that's to all of us, because it needs to start with the parents. They're children. They belong to the parents, and we're sharing in that. And if we don't start, if the children don't come day one for K, haven't learned something, they're already behind, and we're playing catch up. So this is good. Board discussion. Richard, Mike?
Yeah, just a couple quick questions. So one is with prenatal parents, or even parents that are have kids that are too young to even be in our pre-K programs. How are we reaching out to them and connecting to them to get them involved? That's my first question. And the second question is building on Stacy's point. How are we then taking some of the lessons that we're learning at Logan Memorial and applying those across the scale with parent capacity building?
It's a question of the day scale.
Yes. Yeah.
I will say that Teresa and Pam have been part of this process, and so as we've been focused on Logan Memorial, it has raised really important things for us to think about across, and so we definitely wanted them to be involved in this from the very beginning.
Yeah, so the answer to the first question is actually very exciting, because we started with our own community of parents, parents who had young children or were about to have young children. And so we did have a great set of parents to join us, and we reached out, and they were right away, once the ice broke with the community building and the harbor team and the teachers, we were able to get enough parents for this process to begin. We also have partnerships within the community with the Logan Heights Family Clinic, with the Logan Heights Public Library, who has a similar program also that we partner with. So it's another outreach that we go through the library process, because they see also parents that we might miss that are not part of the Logan Elementary or K-8 community. We also have other community partnerships with the Logan Heights Counseling Services, so they are also a place where we can provide information to parents who are interested and also fit within the prenatal to 4-year-old group.
Thank you. Dr. Mike?
Well, we know in order to have a quality school in every neighborhood, we need to have a quality neighborhood around that school. So it's just this collaboration that is so critical to building capacity as we work with our schools and our parents and our other stakeholders within the community. So many of the challenges that we're giving in producing, creating an education program really are of a much larger issue that deals with families, communities, jobs, housing, and the larger social issues and cultural global issues. So tackling the piece that we can handle, which is the one starting with parents and starting with parents early, I think it's a great idea, and it's an opportunity for us to establish these relationships early, create the behaviors that are supportive early, so that we can begin to work with the families, and it's working with the families as partners in this effort to create an educational program that will best meet their needs. And I have a unique opportunity. I've accepted the invitation to participate in a Harvard Summer Institute, so I'll be there this summer. It was a program developed for principals, for board members and superintendents in order to increase their capacity and ability to do good work in their neighborhoods, and there might be a way that I could roll this effort into my effort as I develop capacity with this as an area of focus, and we can talk about that later.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you
for
that.
going.
Yeah, no, thank you. If you do meet, Paul Revel is my advisor, actually, and he probably is going to be teaching in your institute.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a collaboration between the School of Business and School of Education, and it's with the Council of Great City Schools with Michael Casserly and that group.
Excellent.
Very good. Mr. Bison, did you have any comments? Dr. Evans? Well, thank you. And I want to say thank you to the staff for bringing back a progress report kind of to us on this, because this is a board-wide issue that we've been monitoring over a year now. So thank you for reporting back, and we look forward to additional updates. Thank you. And that takes us, hopefully the other people are here, to Goal 6, school safety, the well-orchestrated district-wide support services and communication.